You know, they say families are families. Families are families are families. But what about families that may be a little kooky or a little creepy? We're going to take a look at the Addams family genogram. And a genogram is just a picture of the family tree. And the genogram tells us a couple things. It tells us, one, who's related to who by blood or lineage. But it can also paint a picture for us about relationships and enmeshment or good relationships. So we use those with different symbols. As we look at the symbols that we're going to put up here on the board, we see that circles represent females, squares represent males. The triangle is going to represent pets that have significant influence within the family. An X within either the circle, the square, or the triangle represents that the person or the entity is deceased. In our genogram, we're going to have also 3 red lines. You'll see those, and that means that there is some enmeshment in relationship. We also will see a red line with a couple of slashes through it. That will represent a broken relationship. We'll see connection relationally that has a bunch of red X's, and that will represent a hostile relationship. And then we'll see also some green lines, and the green lines represent a positive relationship with the family. Well, as we look at the Addams family, let's just start with the patriarch of the family, and that will be not necessarily that the patriarch has all the authority, but we'll see, we're going to look at Gomez Addams. And Gomez Addams, he was born in 1931, and he is married to Morticia Addams. And Morticia was born in 1934, and as we draw the genogram, we use these dates to represent significant times in the individual's lives. I'm going to erase this black line, and we'll just draw a green line to represent that Morticia and Gomez have a good relationship. Now, Morticia and Gomez, of course, we think that they had 2 children. That's not necessarily the case, and it's a little known fact, but Morticia and Gomez, they did have a boy. His name was Pugsley. And they had a girl, and her name was Tuesday. Her full name was Tuesday, Friday Addams. But we'll just call her Tuesday. I'm going to abbreviate that. But what's little known about the Addams family is that they also had some other children. And one was named Pubert. And they also had Pugsley Jr. And their last child was Tuesday Jr. Now, the relationship between Gomez and Morticia and their relationship with their children, Gomez has a good relationship with Pugsley, with Wednesday, as does Morticia with Pugsley and Wednesday. But there is some disconnect in their relationship with Pubert, Pugsley Jr., and Tuesday Jr., and the same with Morticia. Not that they have a bad relationship, because I would probably put that in red if there was a bad relationship. It just may not be as close a relationship that Gomez and Morticia have with Pugsley and Tuesday as they do with Pubert, Pugsley Jr., and Tuesday Jr. Now let's look at some other aspects of the Addams family. Gomez, and we don't know who this was, but had a sister. Gomez and his sister's parents Gomez's dad was Grandpa Squint, and his grandma and his mother, or Pugsley and Tuesday's grandmother, was known as Grandmama. If we take the lineage a little further back, we see that Grandpa Squint's grandmother's name was Squint. That's rather funny. He was named Squint as well. And his dad was Pegleg Addams. So we got Pegleg Addams, Grandpa Squint, and Gomez Addams on his side. Now, Pegleg is deceased, as well as Grandma Squint, as well as Grandpa Squint are deceased. The dates for Squint Addams, and that's his grandmother, was 1883 to 1957. And we put these dates on there just to help give a time when they were alive. Now let's look at some relationships that we have going on here. Grandmama has a wonderful relationship with Gomez. And she also has a wonderful relationship with Morticia. Now, if we look at Morticia's side of the family, this gets a little interesting. We understand that Morticia had a sister, and her sister's name was Othelia. Othelia Frump. And Othelia and Gomez were dating. And while they were dating, Gomez met Morticia and basically dumped Othelia. So Gomez and Othelia do not have a good relationship right now because, of course, Gomez and Morticia got married. Now, Othelia and Morticia's parents, we don't know her father's name, but we do know that he's deceased. Her mother's name was Grandma Frump. Now, Grandma Frump and Grandmama were close friends in high school, but they're no longer real close friends, but it's just been a different symbols. But you can also make up your own symbols just as long as you and the couple that you're counseling with understand the symbols. Her first doll was named Mary, Queen of Scots. So that we'll just say Mary. And QS. And then she also had Marie Antoinette, who Pugsley would regularly take Tuesday's doll and chop Marie Antoinette's head off with his toy guillotine. And then she also had a doll, Little Red Riding Hood. And Tuesday would play with these dolls regularly. Now we understand the Addams family and their home, and it wasn't really the normal home. So let's look at some of the other entities that were in the home. One thing that we didn't mention, but I think it's important, is to know that Gomez's sister was married. We don't know who he is, but they had one child. And I'm going to put a circle and a square because we're not sure. But this was cousin S-I-N it. I-T-T. Cousin It. And Cousin It and Gomez had a superb relationship as cousins. In the Addams household, there were other people who were not really blood linked to the Addams, but they were still part of the family. And one of those individuals, we're going to put him up here, and I'm going to use a symbol of 2 boxes, and this is Lurch. Now, why did I use 2 boxes? Well, Morticia had a friend staying over at the house, and Lurch was serving Morticia and her friend as the butler. He's the butler. And Morticia's friend asked Morticia, she said, "Morticia, where did you dig up that butler?" And Morticia put her finger to her chin and she goes, "You know, I can't remember the cemetery." So we're not sure if Lurch is a born person or a made person. The latter is probably the truth, because Lurch's father, and we do not know his name other than he had a relationship with Dr. Frankenstein, and it's believed that Lurch's father was another created monster from Dr. Frankenstein. So therefore, the relationship blood-wise may be that Lurch is a byproduct of a man named Lady Fingers. And Thing met Lady Fingers when one of Morticia's friends brought her hand to stay for a visit, and Thingy Thing and Lady Fingers developed a relationship. The relationship between Thing and Gomez is very strong and good, as well as it is with Morticia. Lurch's relationship with Gomez is good, as well as with Morticia. A relationship that is not so good has to do with Cleopatra and Uncle Fester. They just do not get along. I think Cleopatra thinks Uncle Fester is a mutant. Grandma Frump is not, but Grandmama lives with the Addams, and Lady Finger is not. So if we look at this amoeba-like line, that is all who is encompassed in the Addams family in their home. Is it confusing? Only to somebody who doesn't understand the symbols and understand the relationship lines. But as we meet with our couples, with our families, with our individuals, and they're going through difficulties in relationships, to give a genogram will give them a good idea of their family history. They may be kooky, they may be spooky, but they're a family just like us.